Good morning. I am up here to talk to you about this book, which I wrote 4 years ago. It's called A Year of Affirmative Living, and it's a calendar, actually, and it goes all the way through the year, and each day either has an affirmation or a declaration or a meditation or a quote. Most of the quotes are from people that we really know well. I had it reprinted, and there's copies in the bookstore, and they sell for $8.99. And I wrote this book in one of the darkest times of my life. I think it was the darkest time of my life. A divorce had left me with $500, and I was getting a state pension as a retired teacher, but that covered my rent. And so I really didn't have all but about $50 after that left over for basic life necessities. And I had been interviewing, I was getting on I was retired. I was retired. I thought I was going to stay retired. And I got online, and I was scouring for jobs, and I had online interviews and texting interviews and face-to-face interviews and phone interviews, and I was not receiving any offers. So it got to a point where the electricity was turned off several times. There was a 2-week period where I ate crackers and cheese. There were days when the dog ate and I didn't. And I was still, trying to hold it up, trying to do what I could. Neighbors helped. One day I went to a family member and asked for a loan so that I could possibly get through the next month of expenditures. And this member wrote out a check and handed it to me and said, "This is all I'm going to give you," and then proceeded to give me a lecture on what I had done wrong in my life to get to this point. So I got in my car to go home, and I started to drive, and my head suddenly was getting thick and heavy, and my neck was getting, and I'm driving, and I'm barely seeing over the wheel, and it went all the way down my body to where I could barely lift my foot to even move to the brake. I don't know how I got home. I pulled into my garage. I barely got, and I'm coming in the house like this. I felt like I weighed a ton. I'm coming in like this. And I fell down on the couch, and despair filled every part of me. Defeat filled every part of me. And out of desperation, I yelled out, "God, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it. I don't have the strength to do it. I don't want this life. I don't like this life. I don't want this life. Please just take it." And then this male voice in my head said, "Wow, that's a cop-out." I still laugh about that. Well, I started laughing, and I laughed, and I laughed until I could sit up and breathe again and think. And then I very cynically said, "So I'm supposed to keep going and learn some more stuff, right?" And the immediate response was yes. So then I remembered something that Edwina Gaines says in her prosperity workshops, and that is, if you are filled with the darkness of pain, grief, anger that someone or something did to you, nothing is coming to you. It can't. So you have to use this word called forgiveness. Forgiveness. And you have to empty all that out until you are a clean, shining vessel so things can come to you. And at that time, I was really following a website called Daily Ohm, and I knew that they had workshops, and I knew that they had one on forgiveness. So I had $15 in my bank account, and I went on the website, and the workshop was 10. And I took a breath. And right then I could feel that all the universal powers were aligned with me in that moment to help me do this. So I signed up for it, and then I had $5 to my name. I went into the workshop. I didn't go anywhere for 2 days. I didn't answer the phone. I took the workshop from the beginning to the end, and when it was over, I had this sense of purpose again. There was something I was supposed to be doing that was grander than me, and I really needed that at that time. I started writing this book. The next day, a friend called and said, I just realized I never paid you back for that dinner that you bought me months ago. Oh my gosh, that was $25. I'm bringing it over tonight. And then the next day I got a letter from the city water company. You double paid a couple of months ago and we credited your account. You don't have to pay for water the next month. Then the next day, a very dear friend called me and said, you do so much for the church. This was Unity Houston. You do so much. You've been the church for me so many times. So until you can get back on your feet, I'm going to send you my monthly tithe. Yeah, what a gift. And it just kind of kept going like that. Friends were telling friends, and I'd get a call. Someone wants an organizer. I know you do that. Then a man found me on LinkedIn and wanted a ghostwriter for his memoir, and he hired me, and it kept going and going and going and going. And I'm still writing this book with all the affirmations and the declarations. And in 2020, right in the pandemic, I made a life decision to leave Houston and come here. Many of you know that story. And I left a 3-bedroom big house to come. I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment now, and I'm in the hills that I love with the beautiful trees that I love. And I'm a member of this church now, and you're in my church family. And I want you to know that the books that are I've told Reverend Cynthia that I'm not making any money off the books. This is my wanting to all the proceeds from the books to go to the church. And for those of you who buy the book, I hope it gives you what you needed like it did for me. Namaste.